Robert Quinn, hello. You are professor in Ross School Business in University of Michigan. And today we are with the CNAM OCC. It's an international institute of management. It's situated in Paris, in France. And could you give us the most important ideas of your book and Diagnosing and Changing Organizational Culture and OCAI, Organizational Culture Assessment Instrument? I will listen to you.
Okay, I'd be glad to do that. I guess I would start with a story. I remember playing golf one day with a partner, and we were paired up with two other people. And the other person explained that he was an engineer. And he asked me what I did, and I told him that I did a lot of work on changing culture and leadership. And he responded and he said, well, I never believed in culture until the merger. He said, now I believe in culture. Well, for weeks I thought about that comment. We know that genetics and culture are the two most powerful forces in shaping human behavior. And yet we have people who are trained in various professions who go out into the professional world and they have no idea that there is such a thing as culture. That means they're blind to a force that's acting on them all the time. If they're leaders and they have that blindness, it means that they can't change their organizations. They can't lead. And so, first and foremost, the book is a book that calls people's attention to the very important concept of culture. But secondly, it provides a way for them to think about and even diagnose and think about changing their culture, which is a very crucial leadership tool for anybody who's going to play an important role in organizations. If you take it one step further, the competing values framework is now used by organizations all over the planet, tens of thousands of them. 99.9% of them use it because it helps them differentiate. So they say, oh, your group's a red group and your group's a blue group. No wonder we're having this problem. So in that one sentence, they're conveying a lot of complex information, so it's very efficient, and that's the appeal they find in the model. Now, the problem is that while that's a desirable characteristic of the model, that's not the greatest power of the model. The greatest power of the competing values framework is the integration of differentiation. And what that means is, how do I pursue the making a profit while I pursue engaging people, respecting them, integrating them, and creating collaboration? How do I change my organization while constantly stabilizing my organization? Now, those questions are not questions that come naturally to the human mind that's dominated by the left brain during the workday. Those are right brain questions. They're integrating questions. And yet, what we know is that when we integrate differentiation, generativity occurs. It's true in the physical world. You put the male sperm and the female egg together. Those are two very different entities that interact. The shell breaks, a new chemistry emerges, and pretty soon a new system emerges that's quite complex and amazing. The same thing is true in the human mind. When we integrate unlike thoughts, we begin to engage. That's the very essence of creativity, of generativity. And so the model is designed to help people do either or thinking and to build a diagram or an analysis to help them see. But it's also then designed to help them ask the question, how do we put these quadrants together? How do we build with a both-and perspective? And that's not available in very many places in the world. And yet people don't get the value of that because they're trapped in their left brain and they only think in either or terms. So the model is efficient and useful for people who want to use it as an either-or tool, but it's very, very powerful for people who can grow into the integration of differentiation and putting together of positive opposites. So that's the reason we wrote the book.
Okay, and so you have made this grid with a method, and how long it takes to have the first result between they engage in this OCAI method and they see the result of the first to see the beginning of the result. Some results.
Yeah, that's a good question. It depends entirely on what people do. So, for example, if you make a diagnosis in an organization, that's fine, but the diagnosis doesn't have impact until you do something with it. And so how you use the diagnosis determines what happens next. And there are many, many hundreds of ways to use the diagnosis. So much will, because it's not just about knowledge, it's about leadership. So we gain the knowledge. Now, what do we do with the knowledge? How do we involve people in the use of that knowledge? Again, most people take the easy way. They say, well, here's our profile. What do we want to do? Much more complex process is to involve everybody in the creation of the diagrams, everybody in the interpretation of the diagrams, and particularly in the painting of the future desired, the desired future. And then asking people to think deeply about what would it mean for our group, team, or organization to move forward towards this new desired future. And again, there are 100 ways to do that. But if you do it, then the speed will determine on the current condition of the people and your level of trust, how much trust you can build as you go through the process. And some organizations will fail because they can't. Others will succeed greatly because they can. So there's much work beyond just the framework and the knowing process. There's also the leadership process.
Thanks very much to have given this time. And before the book will be translated in French, perhaps we will see you in Paris for an event.
I hope right, and thank you very much. I wish you the best.
Okay, thanks. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks.